Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Timothy here for Sharp 11 Music. In this video I'm going to share 5 exercises with you that will help you get to the next level rhythmically, help you recognize and transcribe rhythms with more ease, and help you understand what people like Tigran are doing. So let's get to it. First, let's start off with some fundamental things. Don't worry, I'll go swiftly. In order to have a rhythm, you need to have a beat, an underlying pulse of evenly spaced beats. And in between these beats, you can create a grid, much like you can see in pretty much any DAW. That's your subdivision. So these are your 8 notes, triplets, 16 notes, quintuplets, and so on and so forth. So now that we have those things covered, let's move on to the exercises. The following exercises will progressively increase in difficulty and complexity, but I strongly recommend that you do them, otherwise I wouldn't be making this video. So first we have subdivision and displacement. So we already covered subdivision in the previous paragraph, and for brevity's sake, we'll just stick to triplets and 16 notes for this exercise. So here's what you want to do. Put on a metronome, either stand or sit, but tap your foot to the beat. To start, count all the subdivisions. And let's start off with triplets. Then clap on the first beat of the subdivision. So just on the beat. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Next we're going to displace our clap and we're going to accent the second subdivision. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And finally we're going to do the same with the third. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, so after the triplets, let's do 16 notes. We're going to do the exact same thing, but on the metronome, count the subdivisions. 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. Clap on the first subdivision while tapping your foot on the beat. Then move on to the second, third, and finally the fourth. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Once you're comfortable with doing this, try counting the beats only. This makes it a little bit harder because you have to internally keep your sense of the grid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. After you've had a good grasp on this and you're relatively comfortable doing this, we can start adding other evenly spaced accents on top of our beat. These accents will create different groupings and, you might have guessed it, this will create polyrhythms. So let's go back to our triplet example. We're going to subdivide our beats into triplets. And now we're going to accent every other beat. So 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1. Just like that. And by doing that, we have created a 3/2 polyrhythm. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You should also displace that polyrhythm and start on the 2. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Let's do the same again with 16 notes. We take our beat. We subdivide it into 16 notes, so we have 4 notes per beat. And this time we're going to accent every third note. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1. And now we have a 4/3 polyrhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. If we would have accented every other beat, like with the triplets, we would just have gotten 8 notes. Not that exciting. This next exercise is a little extension of the previous one. And as you may have noticed, in 4/3, it's basically a 3/4 measure. But we're going to put that in a 4/4 measure. So you're going to have to think over the bar now. And it's going to take a few rounds of bars before the ones realign again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Next exercise, we're going to go back to our subdivisions, but this time we're going to change gears. So what this means is we're going to cycle through the subdivisions one after the other going from eighth notes to 32nd notes and back down. And yes, this includes the odd ones like quintuplets and septuplets. So it's 8 notes, triplets, 16 notes, quintuplets, 16th note triplets, septuplets, 32nd notes, and back down. You may be wondering why the odd groupings, but like in the wise words of the great Gavin Harrison, because these are uncommon subdivisions, you may think they have little use. The fact is, learning to cope with them will give you a better understanding of note values and will help you know when you go back to playing the straight stuff. And it's really true. Once you can feel quintuplets and septuplets, you will get a different affinity with subdivisions, and even doing the previous exercises will deepen your rhythmical understanding and knowledge, basically. Here's another exercise you can try. This is taken from a book by Pete Lockett, and it's called Indian Rhythms for Drums. It's something you can try once you've become a little bit more comfortable with polyrhythms and stuff like that, but I'll show it to you anyway. So you can change accents or groupings, and you can change subdivisions, but you can also do both at the same time, which brings us to our next exercise, and that is mixing up polyrhythms. So here you have to anticipate the next subdivision as well as the polyrhythm. So for this exercise, we're going to do 2 bars of 3/2 and then 2 bars of 4/3, and we're going to repeat that.
2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. For our final exercise, it's another exercise I got from the Pete Lockett book, and it's a modulating exercise, and it's basically where you just take a little rhythmic motif, like in this example, bam, 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 bam. That's just 16 notes in 4/4, and you're gonna modulate that into, let's say, quintuplets. So it's gonna, if you take away a reference metronome or something, it's gonna sound like, for instance, if your original 4/4 16 notes beat is in 40 BPM, once you go into quintuplets, it's gonna sound like all of a sudden you've accelerated and you're in 50 BPM, but you're still in 40. This is also called Rhythmic Illusions, which is a book by Gavin Harrison, which I also strongly recommend if you're into all of this stuff. As a little bonus, I'm gonna share a metric modulation exercise from the book with you, and it goes like this.
So by putting this all together, we can now have a better understanding and grasp of what Tigran is doing, just to tie this all back to the transcription. So for the most part, he's changing accents. The beat, the pulse, the subdivision stays the same, but he's mainly doing things in 7, but there's a part where he's going 5, 5, 4, which if you add it up is 14, which is 2 times 7. But all in all, the subdivisions and the beats and the tempo stays the same. However, when he starts his beatbox thing, he changes the subdivision. So first we're in this kind of bouncy triplet-y feel. It's not really triplets, but that's how it feels. And then all of a sudden he goes into this 16th note subdivision where you really feel this. After that, he's gonna go into this 5/16 or 5/8 grouping, whatever you want. Depends on tempo and stuff like that. But he's gonna make that thing the new beat. So that's a metric modulation. And then once that is the new beat, he's doing a thing in 7/4 with that being the new reference. And he's subdividing it just in 8 notes, but that has become the new beat or the new tempo. So that's about it for the exercises. If you're into this and you want to go deeper into this, we do have a whole rhythmic training pack which covers all of this, which covers quintuplets. I go over tunes that I transcribed and then show what they're doing, so you have actual practical applications of this. There's reading exercises, there's transcription exercises, there's a whole bunch of stuff in there, extra exercises that I haven't shared here. So if you're interested, just click up there or down there. Besides that, I also can very much recommend the 2 books I mentioned before, Gavin Harrison's Rhythmic Illusions and Pete Lockett's Indian Rhythms for Drums. So I hope you enjoyed these exercises. I would invite you to do them because they are very, very beneficial. You will be able to hear rhythms better and be able to transcribe them easier or more easily. Your knowledge and your feel and everything will really just deepen, and I can really recommend doing these things. Also, as a little bonus, you can try and beatbox the metric modulation exercise by Gavin Harrison or the other drum examples by Pete Lockett. So you can sort of emulate your own Tigran approach. At the end of the day, it's all about strengthening our inner musician. There's a lot of tools out there these days. There's tools that create chord progressions for you and generate whatever you want for you. But in my opinion, once you take the toys away, then it all falls down. So in my opinion, it's better to just train yourself and do it that way. But okay, that's the end of the rant. I hope you guys have a nice day, week, month, year, whatever. Like, subscribe, check out Patreon, check out the members, check out the course, and see you guys next time.